Can be.
And we are live.
Good morning.
No, it is morning. It's yet to be determined if it's good.
Buenos dias.
Hola, amigos.
Hasta mañana.
¿Dónde está la biblioteca?
Bonjour.
I don't know where your book is.
Oh, oui, oui.
Oh, je m'appelle Pom.
Woo!
Oh, yeah, that's way over my head.
Fromage. What's the eggs? Cheese eggs?
I had Spanish from first grade to seventh, or excuse me, French from first grade to seventh grade. All I remember is El Estilo. I remembered more from kindergarten Spanish when I got to high school to take Spanish than I did from 7 years of French.
Where do you live that you have that much French?
Well,
I lived in France for 3 years. 3 years.
Oh.
Yeah, six months. But it was when I was quite young, so I don't really remember much of it.
he was Bart Simpson in France.
My dad grew up in French Quebec. He didn't graduate high school. Pardon me. Frog in my throat. He didn't graduate French high school because he couldn't speak French well enough when he graduated. But when he came back to the States, he's able to skip all language requirements and universities because his French was good enough there.
Fuck Quebec.
I will only say that my craziest players have all been from Quebec.
I had a player from around there that I swear he played 24/7 for a while. Like, I crap you not, like he was on all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, OC left.
Yes, very like right when you hit the live button or right before then. I'm not sure.
I like those players, but sometimes I just don't understand how they manage it. They'll play for like 18 hours a day, and it's like, do you not have things to do, like, I don't know, laundry or dishes or make something to eat?
Right.
Oh, they just sit in their base for a few minutes and just go put the laundry in.
Welcome back, OC.
Guess who's back? Who's back again?
It's OC.
Say something.
Oh, she's back?
He's being shy.
It's another one that doesn't say anything.
No, he's talked before. Not like
Sure.
yeah, not like Prisma. Prisma hasn't talked. Yeah, what's the farthest player you've had? Like
Oh,
geographic
Philippines.
wise, Philippines.
Had to whitelist them in because their ping was so bad. They really liked our server.
I've had Australians. I've had Estonians. I've had Brazilians. I've had Spaniards.
A lot of Brazilians.
I'm trying to think who else I've had. I've had Brits. But since I don't really kick people for ping, it was nice having, I've had a few Germans too, I think. Not many. But it's nice seeing the different country flags pop up.
Yeah, I was just looking through some of mine. I got like, what's DE?
Denmark.
Denmark,
I
yeah.
might have had that too. I'm not sure.
What's CZ?
Or-
Czechoslovakia?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, I haven't had any checks that I know of.
Oh, what's TR?
Trinidad.
Maybe.
What's the flag look like for that? Do you have the flag?
Yeah, it's a red flag with like a eclipsing moon.
Turkey. Yep, Turkey.
Oh, is it Turkey?
Turkey? Yeah,
Mhm.
I've had turkey too.
We all do on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
I was just thinking that it's Christmas here. I've not had any exotic locations, but I have had my server played from an aeroplane before.
Really?
Yeah, Mile High Club.
Who paid that much to have the internet enough to play 7 Days to Die on an airplane? to have the connections be
Apparently,
like
it
that.
was extremely laggy. They just wanted to see what would happen.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, it's probably before 5G. I don't even know if the planes have 5G yet. But
I
then, yeah.
wonder how the planes do connect. Like, I mean, obviously, I'm guessing it's from a satellite.
Who? What?
Planes, when they're connecting the internet, I'm
Oh,
guessing
yeah.
it's satellite.
Yeah, it would have to be.
I remember one time when I was taking off, I had my Pokemon Go open just because I was like, let's get some points on here. And it was hilarious. As we're taking off, my little character was like running so fast. But then, of course, I got out of range of the cell towers.
Alright, we need some actual topics to discuss.
Oh, I got one.
Go ahead.
Oh, where the change to where the mods go.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I have not paid attention because it's not time for me to do my map yet. But it probably, I mean, like, I should probably know.
It's in the app data folder now.
Yeah, so I gotta figure out where it goes in my server. I haven't even looked.
Are they gonna reverse
working?
it? Do you think there's any chance they'll reverse it?
Why?
I think
it's
something
for the EOS. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if, for the console, when it ports over to the console, because you can't access stuff in the console from the main directory. But I don't know how you're going to get mods on console. I don't know how that works.
Did that have something to do with the live pass game, whatever?
Maybe. Is 7 days going on the live pass?
Didn't they post that somewhere?
It is on the pass, I think.
Yeah, they just started doing that or something.
Well, maybe that's the PC version, but you know, it needs to be recoded for console. Because I know with the Xbox, whatever it is, Game Pass or whatever, there's games that are ported from Xbox to the PC. Or vice versa, but 7 days, you know, that's a Charlie Foxtrot, so I guess they're eventual planning on that. And maybe it has something to do with Epic too, I don't know. I don't know how Epic works their structure.
With lots and lots of unusual characters.
They're doing a lot to incorporate Epic right now.
Yeah, I don't
Do you have
know.
any specifics? OC?
What?
You said that they're doing a lot to incorporate Epic right now, more than just the usual, or?
Well, they want to, I guess, incorporate consoles in the future. So 7 days is just one of the games they have on the go. We figured out they're running an Unreal, like the new Unreal Engine 5. We don't know what they're producing, but that's part of the reason they're working so hand in hand with Epic. So I think all their future games are going to be on the Epic platform, and who knows what they'll do with Steam in the future.
Yeah, but more people use Steam. I can't see them not putting out games on Steam, too.
Yeah, I think they'll do both, but I just mean they're going to really go hand in hand with Epic because the Unreal Engine 5 works with Epic.
Yeah, that just came out, what, like a month or two ago?
Something like that, yeah. I think it's a bunch of the funding and even the technology in the Unreal Engine is from Epic.
Okay, yeah, I know was it Epic? Yeah, I know Epic has the downloads for like Conan Exiles for the modding. If I knew any kind of C++ and how their blueprint system worked, I might actually do mods for that, but coding.
There is a deal on Humble Bundle right now for Unreal Engine 5, and it has a bunch of courses on blueprints and stuff you could probably use.
Yeah, I did see that. I was on the fence. I don't know how much longer it's going on for. I don't get paid until next week.
11 days.
What's today? Oh, yeah, I could probably snag that. That goes to May 4th, it looks like.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick it up. I'm gonna try anyways, producing a game with a buddy of mine. See how it goes.
Yeah, my problem is I've been trying to learn the code since the late 90s, and it just doesn't stick in my brain.
Yeah.
Like, I can read C++. I can tell you more or less what it'll do. Can't write it. Just, there's a block in my brain that just won't let me write. Like, it's like, I'm like a 4-year-old going, why? I kind of like need a class and someone to explain to me why this does that. And then my brain can actually wrap my head around it.
It's definitely its own language. It's kind of like if you were to learn Spanish or French.
Yeah, well,
Sometimes it just clicks, and for other people, no way. It seems like astrophysics.
yeah. Yeah, I've been reading, I haven't read in a while, but a book on Python I backed on Kickstarter, and it's very easy for me to understand. Like, the dummies books I've tried, and it's too dumb.
Yeah, and they read it out like a Microsoft formula.
Yes.
And I don't like that. They don't give you a proper example that's practical.
Right. So, this book I got is by Mike O'Driscoll, and it's like Python 101 and Python 102, and it's very well written, and I can understand it, but I got up to lists, and my brain just hurt because it's so dry trying to get through that chapter on lists.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I think that's the main reason people don't get into coding is it's read more like a user's manual rather than applying it somewhere.
Right.
Somewhere where somebody would be interested too.
Like, I mentioned about, if I could actually, like, see it, like, I do my own car maintenance, so it's hands-on. That I can do. But when it comes to coding, it's very abstract for me. Now, if I had something like 3D or something I could work with that I can link it to, and something's like, well, object-oriented programming, I'm like, I know what that is, but that's not what I'm talking about.
And not everything in coding gives you a physical result.
Right.
Sometimes it's just like a timing mechanism where you're playing around with ticks and going, oh, that just responds better. It runs smoother and performs better for the server. But that's not something you physically see. It's
Right.
not like an animation or a bug fix necessarily.
Right, and I think that's part of what gets me is like I can't see the correlation of this does this. Like if I had something, like I said, something like 3D, figure like when you're a small child and you stack your blocks. Something like that, like, okay, well this block does this, and then I have, oh, okay, well this block has no letters, and I do this for the tick or performance, and now there's like an A on there. So I knew that, okay, so that works. It's just,
It sounds like you'd be a good type of coder, just more for the endgame content, like adding content into it. If you had a formula where somebody's done a lot of the kind of background stuff,
right.
You don't see that result, netcode for instance, then you could go to town. You could probably add a lot of stuff and have great ideas. But yeah, it's a different end of the coding atmosphere. I can see why a lot of people, they don't just fail, I think they just become exhausted. You're doing a lot of repetitive stuff. It's a lot of math, and like you say, there's no real result.
Yeah,
I feel bad for amateur developers. They sometimes spend 3 to 5 years just effing around, really, and they don't necessarily come up with anything useful. Just a lot of skills and things they can kind of put in their knapsack.
Yeah.
The next one. It's even harder getting picked up by an actual development company. You're better off doing your own thing, going indie.
Yeah, I actually picked up, it was on sale, I guess it was last year. I have an Atari VCS, and I'm in that Discord, and one of the things I would like to do is, maybe make something for that, like a little platformer or RPG or something. I picked up Game Maker Studio 2, which handles, like, most of the coding.
Yeah, I've actually been seeing a couple of videos recently about it.
And I'd like to get some time and invest into that and see what I could do. I mean, nothing too fancy, but maybe like a little dungeon crawl or something, like a one-level thing to get started. and kind of release it as like a demo if I wanted to continue on after that. And I think
It's a good way to start.
it uses, it's not Lua, it's not XML. It GML. That's what it is. So I think it's kind of like kind of similar to XML, but it's something I think they're in-house and they call GML. Obviously, something markup language.
Godot, something like that.
What's that?
Have you ever heard of Godot?
No.
It might be something about that, but I'm not sure. I haven't looked into it enough.
Yeah, I know it's some type of like markup language. You know, I think it's similar to XML. I looked at it briefly, but never dug into it. And we should probably start talking about 7 days stuff, because
You know, I was just thinking, I'm like, I mean, well, I can
Yeah,
kind
we're
of
getting off track
tangentially
pretty quick.
see how this is related to 7 days, but
Actually, come to think of it, where do you think modding's going to go in the future of 7 days? They've opened up the platform with Harmony. Do you think they're going to go further, more development, or just kind of leave it open?
they
I
think they think about us, the modders and whatnot. It's on their minds.
I mean, you know, with Guppy Car and Sphery and TSBX and Ziff, you know, kind of have a Locke's ear now and then. So, you know, some things get put in there, some things don't. But what they're doing though, they do make it very easy to mod.
Definitely. It's one of the
Yep.
most open games I've ever seen for it.
Yeah, well, most of them are
Like,
modders and decided to make their own game company. I mean, that's really what it came down to.
try and think of another game that is so configurable by just anyone, and it's like
You'd be going back to early 90s type games where they allowed the INI type changes, and I haven't seen that in a while. I guess maybe strategy games, Age of Empires, they used to allow a lot of customization, but nothing like this game.
Fond memories of the things that you could do with Age of Empires.
Yeah. Did you play the more recent one?
No, like I love the originals. I just absolutely adored those. But
I think they remastered them.
really? Oh
You'd have
God.
to look into it, but yeah, I thought they did.
Might get sucked back into that because I loved it so much. I learned all about history from that game. I don't know if it was accurate history, but
Yeah.
like when I started adding the Cobra Shelby to my maps and just taking out entire civilizations with one car.
I remember that.
Yep, yeah, that was fun. Flying Dutchman, love that anyway.
Yeah, one thing I'd like to see when it comes to the 7 days modding is something to help people that are having trouble with the XML. Like maybe an online app or something downloadable where you can select what you want and to be able to like help output the XML that you'll need.
Right. Yeah, that's actually a good idea.
Yeah, I have
a
mentioned.
little user friendly.
Yeah, I have mentioned it to a couple of the guys that are experts, you know, on the 7D AC, and they're both interested in doing it. It's just, you know, time and whatnot. But I think that
Yeah.
would be helpful. But neither one is a web developer to do it as a web app.
Oh.
So you know, something downloadable. And I know someone did put out like an XML tool, but it's not quite what I'm looking at.
Yeah, not comprehensive enough.
Yeah, I'm thinking like drop down menus or
Yeah,
something like,
exactly.
you know, and it'll, you know, you select what you want to do. So like check a radio button for like blocks or items, and you click that, and then it does the, you know, the header for the XML up to the block section, and then, you know, the new block, and then you can select your properties and stuff like that. You know, and eventually
We'll have to put out a message, try and get some people working on it.
Yeah, I wanted to kind of do it in-house, the 7DAC, as like a contribution to the community. So I don't know, but if we can find a front-end developer, you know, and then one of the guys that's, one of the experts on the XML, we work together and then get something going. I think that'd be great for the community. This way, anybody who's interested in modding, can at least get started, and they can kind of learn, like, okay, well, this does this, and not get as easily confused or frustrated.
I was going to ask, with modding, has anyone put a really basic kind of a guide together? And I don't mean something where it's showing you how to make a new zombie, something more where it goes, here's the basic XML, this is what each variable is doing. Because the way the pimps put it together, sometimes the instructions are just sloppy. They don't really explain it enough, and it presumes they know the last 3 or 4 alphas.
Well, was it Sphery?
Yes.
That put on the forum, that was of course on the XPath when that came out. So there's like a little XPath tutorial type of thing, but it's not as in depth of breaking it down dummy style, I guess you could say. Or for
Siri did a lot for C# modding. He made a series of YouTube videos. I never watched them in full length. I just was interested in the one where he's talking about debugging, which is more advanced, obviously, but he made more basic stuff as well. But recently I found a video where someone was making videos about basic XML editing as well.
Yeah, you know what? There was someone that was doing that. I forget who it was. I think we might have mentioned them before.
I've posted a video in the Brain Drain channel.
That's Skrillex.
Oh, I know Kalina.
No,
Kaluna, sorry.
Yeah, that's not who I was thinking of.
Yeah, she's one of the testers.
Yeah, events and actions in 7 Days to Die. Who was?
But that's exactly what he was talking about. Basic instructions how to make XML modlets.
Nice.
Yeah, we should try and take a look and see what we can find, and maybe put some links on the site.
I was just pulling up the 7dac.net. It's like, what do we have on there? I haven't looked in a while.
Yeah, we haven't put anything up in a while. I think we need to put something up. I'm still waiting on Peter to, do the comparisons, but
Life happens.
Yeah. He's like, I'm waiting for Bad Panda to come out. Oh.
Yeah.
I think you waited too long. Oh, Zipcore dropped out.
They'll be back.
There he is.
For whatever reason, my Discord had no sound anymore.
Well, maybe we were being quiet.
Windows update. Oh, I wonder if I could extract the objects out of the assets and 3D print them. That might be interesting.
Oh.
What would you print?
I don't know. It's just something I thought about. Like, I could probably do the blocks. I think they come out as object files, like the wedge, the stuff like that. I don't know if anything
you
else.
could make like your own little Legos. Oh.
Well, there's actually STL files already for Legos, but.
No, I'm just saying it would be fun if you had all those pieces.
Yeah.
And then you could like make IRL type Legos that were based on 7 days infrastructure. Put like little magnets in there so they stick together. Oh my god, that could be so fun.
Yeah. If I could export the buildings as like a whole, that'd be kind of cool.
I think the prefab's distant mesh is like simplified 3D model.
Yes.
Yeah, I would need an object file that I could drop into the slicer program. But that would be cool. You could have your own 7 days to die prefab.
I could make the dam.
Yeah, that would have to be in sections to be able to print that.
Probably. It's a little complicated.
Yeah.
Actually started getting into 3D puzzles, like real life ones.
Yeah.
3D model puzzles, and I found one of the Notre Dame, and I made it. Oh, my poor little fingers hurt so bad. Did we cover the? Shoot, lost my thingy. The where do mods go? Yeah, so
That was app data and so was the subfolder mods. There's like app data, something else, and then mods.
so but on the servers, does yours say app data?
No, because mine are running Linux.
Right.
It's usually on Windows. It's like your username, and then it's app data.
Yeah, locally I could find it. I haven't even done it locally.
On a rented server, usually it'll be something like World or something.
Like the save. It's the save, I think. So I think in this.
Sometimes they still call it Worlds.
Yeah, but I think on the servers it might be the save folder.
If you have trouble finding your save game folder on Windows, you can simply use the 7 Days to Die launcher executable.
Yeah.
It has buttons where you simply can open the save game folder and stuff like that.
That is a handy little piece of nugget to know.
There's a small trick in Windows where if you open any folder really, and then go to the address bar in it, you can put %appdata %, and it'll go to the app data.
You can actually
I've been seeing people post that a lot more lately.
Yeah, you can actually just do that in the search bar too. You don't have to open a folder.
True.
You can do it in the search bar.
I normally take that search bar off. I hate Cortana, but
yeah. I turned Cortana off, but I leave the search bar there.
I don't even have Cortana.
Yeah, that's good.
The only Cortana I'm interested in is the one in Halo, the TV show. Does no one watch that?
I've seen it.
No.
Have any of you seen that show, Californication?
Ages ago.
Yeah, long time ago.
It just hit the UK.
What?
It was. I think it was from like 2014.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it's like super old.
That's David Duchovny in there too.
It's the Dr. Halsey is in that as well. So at first I was like, she looks familiar. Where have I seen her before? And now it's like, oh, I know where she's from. Now, how can I take her seriously? I've seen Californication.
I mean, it was a good, song by the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah, I like the song better than the TV show.
Has anyone else noticed the multiplayer population for 7 days is less than adequate?
Yes.
If you look at the total number of people playing and then how many are actually on multiplayer servers, it's maybe 100 people. It doesn't even make sense. It's like there is no multiplayer game anymore.
Did they change how it's being displayed?
I wonder, or if it's a bug, because it doesn't make sense for 21,000 plus people to be playing and for 100 to be in a multiplayer.
They limited the servers as well in the new server browser, so you can only see up to 200 servers when you search.
Maybe that's part of it.
I don't like that.
Either way, I was just surprised.
Well, they did add in, you can put your region now. So I think that would probably help, but yeah, I took my server down because I just didn't have any players. I mean, I still have the ones with flooded, and they seem to be doing okay, but my personal ones I had up I just couldn't get players.
Yeah, I know a few that all closed down. Same reason, just no players.
I mean,
Maybe
when
like one or two.
A21 comes back up, I'll put it back out, but it's just as a server owner, it's like, well, I used to have bustling servers, and now I ain't got shit. I don't know if people are just getting tired of the game, or they're just finding other servers. But
One thing I was debating is whether all this Twitch integrations really changed the direction of the game.
You see people using. I mean, I like the Twitch integration just because I can do silly things when I pop on there, or I can reset prefabs. But I don't watch too many Twitch players, so.
I didn't used to, but now I notice there's a lot more streamers. So I'm thinking between the integration, maybe the focus around it, just the introduction to it. Like people may not have really played the game or seen it until they saw Twitch,
Mm-hmm.
and then they jumped on the bandwagon.
could be.
And started streaming.
And it's my only guess because I just don't know how there could be this many people playing the game consecutively. I know a lot of people who play over 2,000 hours still, and
Mm-hmm.
yet there's no people in multiplayer. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I couldn't play it in single player. I would be so bored because there's just too much work to do as a single player to actually for me to enjoy it.
Nowadays, for sure.
Yeah. I like playing with my friends. That's most of the games I play are just multiplayer. I just want to play with my
Same.
friends. I don't want to do single player. If I do, I'll play Civilization, I'll play SimCity, but everything I just want to play with my friends. It's more fun to me.
I know that I wouldn't be playing still if it wasn't for the multiplayer aspect of it. Although I did get a lot of time in before I did start playing with a server, but I certainly wouldn't be playing it still without that.
But I totally agree with OC that there are not many players playing on multiplayer servers. I mean, when you search for servers in the server browser and sort them by amount of players online, then it drops below 10 already on the first page.
Yeah, that's what I was doing. That's how I was kind of weeding
Okay.
through it and going, I don't understand how there's this many people playing. It just doesn't make sense.
I noticed my player populations had dropped, but I just assumed it was because I wasn't adding a whole bunch of new stuff like some of the other servers were, but maybe it's just in general.
Could be.
I mean, I've got 2 people on right now, or 3, something like that.
Game is getting a little old now. Even if you are new to the game, how long's it been out now? Well, at least
2013,
in early access.
December of 13.
Yeah, it's a long time.
I have players that have been playing on my server since 2014, I think. And they still come back. Got one on it right now.
Yeah, there's 2 on one of the servers Flood and I have up. Let's see. One's got 7.7 hours. One's got 3.5. One's from the Netherlands. The other's U.S.
From this point on, where do you think the direction of the game's going to go?
As far as content, as far as the players,
More of the content. Like, where do they really want to take this game beyond just a shooter zombie? Because it's not like those don't exist.
well, they are going to come up with a story, but I don't know if it's actually going to evolve past that. I mean, they're working on, I think A21, they're doing the AI finally,
Mm-hmm.
because I've been waiting for that since Alpha 17.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
But it depends what they do with the AI, because I think once the AI is done, they're going to start pushing for to beta status and then gold. I'm sure there'll be more POIs and stuff like that, but after that, I really don't know what they're going to do. I don't see what they can do.
Yeah, that's why I ask. I just wonder if you see a direction they would want to take it.
Oh, they've been making it consistently easier. and I'm not really a fan of that. I do hope they put in difficulty settings for the AI. And I hope besides just bandits, they're going to add in actual NPCs.
Yeah.
You know, friendlies. If not, then they'll have to be modded in. But have playing this, since 2016, I really can't see what they can really add to draw in a new audience, or to keep the older audience involved.
Right.
Yeah,
what is the end game content? Yeah.
Once you get to level 200 or 300, whatever they put it at now, it's like, okay, well, even once you have all your workstations, you get a decent base, there's really not much else to do. I was like, all right, well, I got my fortified base. We got weapons and stuff, so the hordes aren't that bad. Let's raise the difficulty rating. All right, do that, but still, it's the same game. Just, know.
They almost need modes, say like a capture the flag mode, or for PvP, some kind of arena combat.
Well, remember, they never designed it for PvP, so I wouldn't hold my breath for anything PvP related.
No, I don't expect it.
They did say they might optimize it for up to 16 players. So
nice. 16 would be better than now.
Yeah.
Right now, it's starting to struggle at 12.
What?
Yeah. If you don't have something over, I forget the stats specifically on the server, but as soon as you go over 12 people, depending what they're doing in the server, if you don't have any tweaks to it to really optimize it, they can bog it down, which is pretty shocking. Like, it's gone from a game where you could run 40 players pretty consistently down to 30 with a high-end computer. People are running i9s to pull off 30 players. That's insane.
Yeah, but anything over like 25, you're really putting everything at risk anyway. Even with the hardware, it's still not optimized for that. I mean, Silent had tested this on an Epic CPU with like 128 threads or cores, and then like over a gig of RAM, and even over the 20-something player mark, it's still tanked.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, but yeah.
Well,
there's something about the way it's coded, and it kind of bogs down where I think it takes too long to process, say, the first part of a list of players. So by the time it's getting to the second part, it should have already been running the first part again.
Right.
And it keeps getting worse. Especially the way this is coded, Zipcore knows all about it. There's a lot of processes that are they're just running like spam. They shouldn't run.
I can give a good example if you like. So there are those sleeper volumes, which get triggered when you touch them to spawn the sleeper zombies inside buildings. And those are triggered even when you are close to them, so you're not even touching them. So the game then calculates each server tick which type of zombies it should spawn inside, depending on who is close to the sleeper volume, what's the game stage, and constantly recalculates that thing without no reason. On my server, I made a cooldown to that, since why should you recalculate that at every game server tick? That doesn't make sense at all. And it's all those little things which add up together, and when you have a lot of players on the server, those frames take so much time to compute all those stuff. That's the main reason why you cannot hold so many players on a server.
Yeah, didn't you say you turned off the sleepers and you increased something like 30 FPS?
No, I've completely rewritten the code which is spawning the sleeper zombies.
Oh, okay.
So I can throttle the amount of spawns down by the amount of zombies already spawned on the server. So if you have like 50 zombies and you have a global limit of 100 and somebody is entering a new building, then it spawns, let's say, half of the zombies, but it increases the game stage to pick the zombies from as well. So it's kind of fair still. You know, you get less zombies, but they get stronger, and that helped a lot with quests on servers. A lot of players told me that on other servers they cannot do clear quests on POIs. There are no zombies spawning, or they are spawning so late that it doesn't make sense at all for them to make quests on the server.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned how quickly the sleeper calculation goes off, and yet how often have you gone into a POI and all of a sudden they just spawn next to you? So
Yeah.
for all that calculation, what was it even worth?
Yeah, and I made a cooldown, so if it has calculated the spawns for sleeper volume, I think like 5 seconds or so, it won't do it again.
That's more reasonable.
There are a lot of other things.
That's for sure.
There are a lot of other things like that which are not making sense for me. Like every time a workstation is ticking, like a forge or chemistry station or something like that, it checks the surrounding blocks if there's water, and then shuts the workstation down.
Yeah, I noticed a couple weird things when trying to figure out some anti-cheat for the net packages, and a few of those were firing off faster than the game ticks, where it was just flooding the server. So if you had 40 players, I don't know how it could ever cope. The amount of, it's not really the processing, but the amount of bandwidth that's being processed is absurd. Like there's just so much at one go, even if it's only a couple kilobytes each. They're doing it so fast, it almost is like a DDoS.
Yep. That's what I saw as well inside my net package monitoring tool, that a lot of traffic is from the game server itself.
Yeah.
Just processes too much data, and sends too much data to players. When you join a server with a lot of players on the server, you get so much data the player don't need at all.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I realized the chunk system was sending it to everybody, even though they're not within range. And it's another one of those things where you scratch your head and go, well, it's not even about optimization. It just doesn't make any sense. Because they load it again anyways as they come closer.
It's not only the chunks, it's the same about every loaded entity on the server. Like, that explains why when you read a book on the server, you can make the game lag for everyone else on the server. So if somebody reads like 10 books really fast, your FPS will drop below 10 for sure.
Yeah, I thought that was a weird bug. It's been around for a while.
Yeah, I reported it like 1.5 years ago. It's still work in progress. So there's an issue with the core concept of the game. I know it's not designed for multiplayer, and that's why they did it like that. So the game lets every player know everything, since everything is calculated client-side as well. So it has to know everything, and that's the main issue with this game.
Like, the server is acting sort of like a client, but not really, and then the client is sort of acting like a server, but not really. They're not really coded separately.
Yeah.
And I see a huge problem there, where if you don't code that very meticulously, you're gonna have a lot of problems.
Yeah. I mean, when you compare to other games, like I think League of Legends is a good example here, they only send you the information you are allowed to have. So you can not make a sheet, for example, which gets the positions of players which are not visible for you, since you don't have the information about them.
Right. Yeah,
And
like
that's kind of how this game works as well. If you are not in range of another player, not inside the same chunk, why should you get the information that somebody is making cement 1,000 blocks away, or that he has read a book or something like that? So basically you would have to rewrite the whole game to make it optimized. And I'm pretty sure if you would do it right, you can easily host servers with 100 players. Easily.
Yeah, I always thought Unity could handle a lot more than this, but the way it's coded is just like you say, kind of a single player, but still, I mean, I hate to say it, it's sloppy. There's just sections of the code that don't coincide with the rest of it. Like, it almost looks like somebody else coded parts and bits and pieces, and then they puzzle pieced it together to make it kind of work with glue. It doesn't feel cohesive. It almost feels like there's certain code that's from Alpha 3 or Alpha 4 that instead of going back and saying, hey, it's just not optimized, let's redo it before we keep going, they keep piling stuff on using that old, I guess you could call framework. And it's
Yeah.
really poor framework. I don't even think it's close to optimized. It's not even functional in some ways. They have
But
more
you can't
problems working with it than they do adding stuff.
But you can't really blame them for making the system, the game like that. A lot of other games do it the same way, like Valheim, for example, is basically coded the same way. It's a co-op game with multiplayer support. So it acts basically the same. You don't have everything server side, and then so a lot of stuff is done there client side as well, and you just send the information to the server, and the server just spreads it to the other players.
Yeah, I hope they start going a little bit better direction with this. That specifically, like, I don't really care about the content. I'd rather the game be smooth enough that hopefully in the future people could just mod the crap out of it. They could make a new game with it or do more optimizations, but the way it's coded, I mean, you certainly knows it. It's a lot of work and a lot of trial and error.
Yeah.
It's not really obvious stuff where you'd go, okay, if I do it this way, at least by the book, the code should work better. And unfortunately, you find out some of the data is missing. There's certain things still in their code from previous alphas that they don't even call on. I don't know why it's there. It's just part of the compiling for some reason. And then when you go and you call on it, it's like, oh, it doesn't even work. Did they plan
Yeah.
to use this? I mean, what's the point of this? Just take it out, or at least omit it, or do something with it. But I don't know. I'm still pretty much an amateur, so I can't really speak. It's not like I could recode their stuff. I just do see certain things, and I've heard it from everybody who codes. They all see different aspects and say, no, this isn't right, or this could
Yeah.
be better. So if you put it all together, it's like, so I talked to a guy who does professional netcode engineering, and he's like, yeah, this is no good. Needs to be done from the ground up. So, okay, good to know. And then you talk to like an artist, and they're saying, yeah, some of these things don't coincide. They're not even meshing properly, and the skeletal framework looks off. It's like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, well, I'm not a pro, so I don't know, don't tell me. But then you talk to the next guy and the next guy, and it's like, wow, this is pretty rough. There's certain things that I wish they would just nail it out of the park, because that's what really makes a game kind of fun, is they stand out in some aspect. Something about it they just do exceptionally well, better than the rest. Otherwise, I don't know if this is just a really advanced Minecraft clone or mod.
I mean, they do, take their time with alphas really well.
Yeah, I don't want to slag on them. Like, I'm sure they have an idea of where they want to take this. It's just, it confuses me sometimes.
I'm pretty sure it
looking at the
confuses
code.
Medmol too.
Yeah. I heard they might be hiring again. Is that true? Have you heard anything?
I have not, but always check the website. I mean, you can always
Yeah.
apply. The worst that they can do is not call you back.
Yeah.
But why should I apply for them? Why?
What do you mean?
I mean, I have the feeling when I would work for them, I would just get depressions. That's my opinion.
Yeah, but we're also on the outside looking in too.
Yeah.
Once you're
really
on
hard
the
to
inside,
say.
you have a better idea of what their game plan is and stuff like that.
Okay, but maybe you just like to get hired just to fix the top 10 bugs and then
Then quit.
then leave. Yeah, then quit.
That'd be great.
Yeah, but are they hiring for this, or they're hiring for their new IP?
Yeah.
That's a good question. Or both, yeah.
Yeah. Because I mean, they're doing this in Unity, but all the new stuff is going to be in Unreal. Now, I'm curious what the two new games are going to they're working on. If they put them on Kickstarter, depending what they are, I'll probably back them.
I mean, give me 6 months, full-time paid, and I would fix the top 20 bugs in this game.
You're hired.
Honestly, I mean, it's much more complex for me to make this through mods, so and I've done it for most of the top bugs already, so
You're already done.
I'm pretty sure I can do it.
I say post your solution for the stupid Horde Knight not spawning. Because I keep on reminding them, hey, it's still broken.
I don't think it's that simple. 1.5 years ago, I reported a bug in the bug tracker, which was about starting a quest inside a POI, and then it does the checks like if there's a bedroll inside, or if there's a claim block inside. And there's one obvious issue with that. It only checks the first claim block placed by each player. So if a player has more than one claim block on the map, and let's say his second or third claim block is inside that claim, then it still resets the POI. And I've sent them a screenshot of the exact line where they are not making the loops through all the claim blocks of each player. And it's when you see this as a programmer, you instantly know, okay, I just need to loop through the list of claim blocks for each player and done. It's a thing you can do in less than 5 minutes. Okay, less than 2 minutes when you are inside the right file already, and it's not fixed yet. So I don't know if it's working like that.
So maybe that's something they're putting off until their optimizations. Once it hits beta and the content addition decreases, and they start actually going through the code again and say, okay, now it's time to optimize this stuff. Maybe it's not a high priority for them now, because, fuck the players. But, once they get through to the point where they're actually going to go through and start optimizing things, then they fix it then. I mean, we don't know what their game plan is. And, Manmo has a squirrel running around in his head. So,
Yeah.
we don't know what direction anything's going to go, because as soon as he sees something shiny, he's off in a different direction. So that's something that could be on the list for, the beta optimizations. Like, okay, well, we'll go back and fix this. We'll go back and fix this.
I will say the squeaky wheel often does get the grease, just in my experience.
So basically, what Karma's saying is get all your friends together and complain about this bug.
Yeah, it worked for the exposed bedroll position bug, right?
The which one?
There was a bug in Alpha 20 Experimental. When you place a bedroll, it was showing inside the console in your log file that there's a bed placed on the server and where. So on PvP servers, you know exactly where beds were placed, and if you just look at the y-axis, you know it's an underground base, so you may check that location out. I remember OC spent a lot of time trying to fix that.
Fixing what?
The bedroll exposure bug.
Oh, yeah. That was a funny one.
Yeah.
Well, it was actually...
How many hours you wasted on there?
Too many?
Oh,
10,
I don't
20?
even want to think about it. Yeah, too much time. It's because of the way you have to do the actual testing. You have to load a server. You set up a dedicated server, or have some kind of guinea pig, I guess you could call them, but you send them some code work and you say, load this on your server, and then you play it on theirs if they're willing. And there normally is, but I don't like playing that way. There's
You
too
never
much
asked me
test
to
work
help
do.
you in that way.
Yeah.
I feel so sad.
My players are beta testers as well, so don't worry about them.
I think we all are. This game is one big public test.
Yeah, but they
Yeah.
have to deal with my experiments as well.
We'll call it stable,
They're used to
dedicated
it.
test work. Yeah.
Okay.
Alpha 20 Anarchy Edition.
Yeah. You know what? Every new alpha is a bit of anarchy. They look shiny. They play kind of nicer than the last one, and then you get into the meat and potato, and you go, "Ooh, okay, yeah, that's a game ender. Like, could you patch
Yeah,
this one?" And you almost scratch your head, going, "How did you guys miss this in testing?" It's like the bedroll thing where you're spawning on other people's bedrolls. The only way they couldn't pick up on that was they don't test multiplayer. They proved it with that.
Hard to get a lot of the testers to play all together at the same time on the
It
same
is,
map.
yeah.
With
I
the map
currently love
constantly switching over.
Like I said before, I'm not trying to slag on them. It's just, it's
Yeah.
kind of a funny thing where it shows up in one alpha,
Mhm.
and then the very next alpha, there's a new bedroll bug, and you're going, "Did you guys test the bedroll? You changed something on the bedroll?" And it's the same kind of situation again and again where you're scratching your head like, "Come on, guys! Every new alpha, you're gonna break the bedroll."
Yes. Absolutely.
Howloon recently reported the bug I fixed, the one with the wires and items from electrical blocks missing. And they closed his bug report since they can't reproduce it. And they have written, quote, hitting escape to close the game. So they only test single player and not even the dedicated server edition. But it was reported for being an issue on the dedicated server edition.
Mhm.
So, and they just try to reproduce it by just placing a bunch of electrical blocks on the map and then just closing the game. That's how they try to reproduce it. And as I found out why this is all happening, I just wrote them two lines. This is what's happening. That's how you can reproduce it. And now I like to see what they do about this, since it's an easy fix again, like 3 simple code lines and it's done.
Yeah, I would like them
But the way was really bumpy to get there to know why it is overwriting the file and when.
Yeah, they need to. I think they need to do another pass over to the electricity anyway. I mean, they brought it in what, Alpha 15 or 16? And
Have you read my post on the Discord here about that issue?
no.
So let me tell you what's going on there. So when you start the game server and for whatever reason the game server is shutting down while it's booting up still, and it has not loaded the power.dat file yet, it's overwriting the file because it's shutting down, saving the world and everything.
Okay.
And then it's overwritten with an empty one because it was never loaded before. It's simple like that. They don't check if the file was even loaded before and then skip the override of the file.
So
It's gotta be
Prisma
on.
and
That's
the
it.
Good talking with you.
yeah, Prisma and the BD Live says, "Don't get your hopes up. I'm already waiting years for a one character change fix."
Yeah.
Let's see. We got about. It's been a little over an hour, so.
Look at that. 26 minutes left.
Yep. What else can we talk about besides, how bad they're ignoring bugs?
I made a new mod which adds new sievers to the game, and I shared it with 2 other server owners so far, and we could make good stuff out of it. It adds new sievers like the day count and the player elevation, and the third one was a number which basically stands for if you're on your own claim, an enemy claim, allies claim, or no claim, and you can use it to make new mods like a catch-up system for players where you use the day count to give more XP or a loot stage bonus and stuff like that. So if you are new to a server which is running for whatever, like it's in-game day 500 or whatever, you can catch up to the other players really fast.
Oh, that's cool. I
Well,
like that.
that's good for PvP. PvE it doesn't really matter, but yeah, for PvP that'd be good.
I'm pretty sure you can do stuff using that for PvE as well.
Yeah, but if
Maybe
you
not the claims thing, but yeah.
Yeah, if you jump on a server day 500 or so as a new player, you know, you're not really behind like the 8 ball as if you joined a PvP server on day 500. You know, it's like, because it goes off your game stage, so you just start fresh. Now, granted, if there's no region resetting or anything, resources might be a little scarce, depending where you're at, but, you know, on PvE, it doesn't really matter where you're at versus where someone else is at. It really comes only into play for PvP.
It would be nice if players understood that there's not so much of a disadvantage joining a server on the later days. Although I still do get new players when my map is fairly advanced, just not very often.
As long as you have players playing on the map, then you have always the chance that more will join. If no one's on your server, then everyone's like, oh, well, no one's playing on there. I want to go on a server that's population.
Mm-hmm.
And then they have bad performance and quit that as well and start their own server or play single player.
I have had more than a few players leave and start their own servers. Sorry.
Do you guys really think there's a need for reset regions? I'm not sure how it is on PvE, but I don't need those things in my server.
I don't need to do it. It just seems to cause more problems than it's worth.
Last time I was setting up reset region, I ended up never using them, so I just occupied a place where players could have built bases.
I would do it for cities, because I don't allow players to build in cities. But at the same token, is like, well, in Alpha 15, you know, I had a server with a day 4500. You know, and it's like the biggest complaint was there's not enough cars, and you know, I do
have a mod for the cars and the gore blocks to respawn, but I find that honestly takes care of most everything.
You know, and like my theory is, well, you're in an apocalypse, resources are going to degenerate. You know, this is what you're stuck with. So, you know, unless you find ways to make your own stuff, you know, go mine. You know, yeah, cars are easy to get metal and, you know, maybe this or that, but go mine.
But a lot of the cars, people would grab those so they can get the brass radiators because brass isn't mineable.
Right, which they should add in copper and copper and aluminum for brass.
That would be great.
Copper and iron. Add in more raw materials that you can mine for.
Yeah, but they don't have that, so.
Not yet.
Respawning cars it is. Yeah. Either that or
just give us Steam Workshop support with the ability to load DLL files you download from the server.
Mm-hmm.
Then the community can handle it, at least if they can't.
Yeah, Steam Workshop support will be great, you know, and especially
it's already but it's already bad when you host a server with client-side mods like Darkness Falls. Then you don't have easy anti-cheat support, which means basically you can harm the server pretty badly if you know how to. I don't like to go any further about this, but I'm pretty sure at least 2 persons inside this channel know what I mean.
Yeah, Steam Workshop will make it a lot easier to get mods, and hopefully they'll do it where if you go to join a server, it'll say, hey, this is the list of mods, do you want to download these? And just hit yes.
Arc does that.
Yeah, what else does that? DayZ you can do that in too. I think Conan might do it now too. But yeah, that the modding support, for Steam Workshop will be good. I don't know how they're gonna handle that on Epic, but I don't think Epic has a mod section download like Steam Workshop.
I just don't want to have to walk my players through how to install like larger mod. We did Darkness Falls once. That I spent so much time trying to walk people through how to get the mod installer and yada yada yada. I'm like, nope, no
Yeah.
more. It's like the only time I ever actually got really hacked was because we had some of the support systems off so that we could run Darkness Falls. Like, no, let me leave my anti-hacking stuff on.
Well, hopefully that'll
Knock
come
on wood.
in. Hopefully that'll come in when with EAC once the way they're doing it with the Harmony.
Mm.
Prisma's typing something in the BD Live channel. Don't know what it is yet because he's still typing.
He says,
Come on, Prism.
Prisma is typing.
That sounds good.
I saw the teaser in the API announcements channel, and I was looking at it like, what's this? And then I started reading it, and I was like, oh, that would be awesome.
Oh,
So
there
many
we go.
people are champing at the bit to get their prefab resetting back.
Well, you can use the Twitch function for that.
Yeah, but I think isn't that tied to the chunk reset, which is corrupt right now?
No, it just does the prefab, not the entire chunk.
Mm.
Well, let me rephrase. I don't know how it's enabled, but we use it a lot on the combo pack testing.
Does it not just all use the same function that the quests use to reset a prefab?
Something like that.
The Twitch might, yeah.
Why doesn't
Handy
that
little feature.
cause corruption, or does it?
I don't think the region causes the corruption. I think it's just the chunk reset, which I thought they said they fixed in 20.4 experimental, but I'm not sure.
Okay, I gotta go now. Bye bye.
See you,
Bye.
Zep.
Yeah.
Yeah, Prisma just said yes, it's a chunk reset that causes the corruption. I'm just ready for Alpha 21. Bring me the AI. Give me more of a challenge because they've been consistently making this easier and easier. Give me the AI. Let me have that challenge where I gotta actually be cautious now. It's like, oh, I can handle the zombies. The AI is something new. And like I said, difficulty setting would be great for that.
I think zombies as an enemy when you think about it, they're pretty difficult to make a real threat, because if you imagine if the zombie apocalypse happened in real life, it would be nothing like films and TV. It would be over in 5 minutes because you just stand behind a wall and you're safe. You could shoot them from miles away and be in no danger whatsoever. Well, I couldn't. You could, but
I could, yeah, I could. Maybe not a mile, but I did buy a new rifle recently. I need to get a scope for, but yeah, I could,
I could drive over them in my car just fine.
Yeah, but they're still humanoid bodies. So what you need is at least that grill that the police cars have, or or you
Get a steamroller.
or you get what's this, Roger Rabbit? Or you get a cow mover off an old train, or design your own.
Oh, a cow cow catcher.
Yeah.
No, a snowplow. Like, they've got those little thingies for trucks, right? If you live in a place where there's a lot of snow, they've got those attachments
Yeah.
for plowing the roads. Heck yeah! Put a couple little really sharp blades in there. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I actually just started reading on
You
Monday.
did? Oh my god.
Yes, on Monday. It's a zombie apocalypse series. The books are only around like 200-ish pages. Called Dead South. And I'm on book 3 already. So
Dead South. Where's it set?
go to Amazon. Let me see. I will post a link. Let me just find it real quick. Cause I've been getting the Kindle edition, so I can read them while I'm at work.
Mm.
I could never get into books. My mind just, I'll start reading it, and a couple paragraphs in, my mind will just start wandering elsewhere, and I'll be thinking about other stuff, but my eyes will still be following the text.
I have definitely done that in the past. A harder time reading now because, I read it on my Kindle in the dark, and then I fall asleep. I've been trying to read Discworld for so long, but I get 2 pages in, and it's a little frustrating.
Alright, in the BD Live, here's the first book in the series. And I just started book 3 yesterday.
A zombie thriller.
Yeah. Oh, I can buy books 4, 5, and 6 for $9. Nice.
Thriller was a video about zombies.
Yeah.
Full
Dancing
circle.
zombies.
Dancing zombies, yes.
So it's pretty good so far. I mean, it's like I said, each book is around 200-ish pages, so it's not a heavy read. I found some grammatical errors, but it happens.
Yeah.
But so far it's a pretty good series. I got a couple of the books I think I got 1 and 3 for free because there's some kind of promo going on. It's like 99 cents, and then it ended up being free for a promo. And then I think book 2 might have been $2.99 or something like that.
Hmm. Well, what other things are people working on? Anybody got some mods in the works?
I'm waiting until gold before I really dig back into modding deeply. Flooded and I have a project that we'll get back to as long as we both have time when that hits. But I don't want to do anything until at least the AI is implemented in the game.
Hmm.
I'm too deep in to quit now.
Sunk cost.
I mean, I have server tweaks I run on my personal server, so once 821 comes out, I'll take a look and update that. But I mean, that's just minor stuff. That's like some stacking.
Of course, yeah.
I do 2 skill points per level instead of 1 because I hate the grind. And then I have like a few craftable things. Like I made springs craftable. I made the concrete barriers craftable, but that was before 820, so I don't know if you can select them now or not.
I've gone through and added like a lot of the creative menu stuff to be craftable because I want people to build stuff.
Yeah.
This is nice. Builders stick around for a long time, just FYI.
If I could get builders, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Give them
They
all
find
the
their own
building stuff.
entertainment. I've been trying to go over my older prefabs, and I finished up my jets, and I finished up the rib boat. I'll post some pictures.
Did you get your lighthouse done?
I did in
while
A19. I
ago?
finished that one.
Prisma sounds
really
like an
have to
addict. I'm trying to quit, but just can't.
I can't quit you.
Oh, that's pretty cool with the little.
Is that like a? Well,
All right,
cute.
so how did you get the planes up in the air?
Magic.
Did you turn off
It's,
physics or something?
There's two ways to do it. There's, well, technically free, but the third option is you just spawn them in the air, and as soon as you stand on them, they'll just fall to bits.
Okay.
So that not really an option. The first option is to do it on a server, and you can take advantage of a glitch, and you can spawn a whole bunch of, like, a square that covers the whole prefab of stone that touches the ground, and then you fill that stone with air, and then you spawn the prefab, and then for whatever reason
It stays.
the prefab, yeah, when they added the like the highlights to tell you if a block will stay on it or whatever,
Right.
I noticed that on prefabs I've done this to, it's pink indicating it's not stable. Yeah, you can place blocks on it and it just stays there. So the other way is the way I'm trying to move to, because it's a real pain in the ass working out the coordinates for every single wipe, and you can't wipe the region once you've done it, otherwise you've basically wiped out all the work you did.
Right.
So the other way is a way a prefabber on the forums figured out, with you essentially make terrain pillars
Oh.
and set the density to 0, and you can't see them or interact with them, but they're there, so they provide support. So it's basically as good as having it just stable as it should be. So you don't have to worry about figuring out coordinates and spawning all these blocks and stuff. Although I did find an oddity with it. If you try to, like with the jet example, like terrain shows up in the distance even if you don't have the prefab files, and there's like this weird glitch where some of it sort of, you can see it interacting with the water, and it sticks up in these spikes. I've got a screenshot of it. It's a bit odd. So for flying objects over water, it's probably not a solution that works.
Okay. So the Spugster was actually holding up those 3 planes.
Yeah, but when you go in the same chunk, they disappear. So it's just a distance thing. So I think I might move those jets on, like combine them with the carrier, so it's just one prefab instead of 3 of them.
Right. What's the picture down the far end of the carrier? Is that an anime girl?
Yes, it is. I was when I was doing I was overhauling it in A19, and I was just putting a bunch of like pixel art on it, and it was just one of the pictures I found when I was looking for reference images. So I was like, yeah, why not? I'll see if I can get a better picture of it for you.
Prisma approves.
I must be doing something right.
You say, can't imagine the hours put into that. Yeah, it's called years.
I try not to either.
Yeah. It's probably been like 6 to 8 months of your life total. Like overall hours. Between
Probably
the
more
different
like
versions.
12 to 15.
Well, hopefully they don't mess with the blocks anymore.
Yeah, A20 it wasn't as bad as like A17 was, but it's been the roughest since.
Did they put round the edges in the around the blocks in there now?
They did, yeah.
Mhm.
So you can actually build like a legit round tower?
You can.
Yep.
Oh,
Several.
nice.
Hollow, not hollow.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
There's your bloobs.
Now, how did you get the pixel art on there?
I use those those new trim blocks that have multiple paintable faces.
Oh, okay. So you painted that.
Yeah. I started with just like you just look at each block as like a pixel of the image,
Mm-hmm.
and you just paint it like that, and then when you're done, you use like the different trim blocks to like kind of smooth it out a little bit.
That must have taken a couple hours easy.
It's not too bad. The only thing is it's once you've got it down, it's pretty much impossible to move it, because if you try and copy and paste it somewhere, yeah, you can probably rotate it, but if you try and mirror it in any way, the blocks will just go crazy. Not woke.
I don't know how much the UK cares about being woke.
Probably 50-50.
Ooh, and we're down to 3 minutes. Good, I can then go put my minis into the curing station that I printed for tonight's game.
You have a resin printer?
Yeah, I've got two. One is going to my cousin once I clean it up a little bit. Since I upgraded, I went with one with a bigger build area. So I printed like maybe 11.
Hi, Prisma.
See you, Prisma.
Okay.
Let's see. Oh, I don't have it open and reset, but I had 1, 2, maybe like 11 minis printed. It took about 4.5 hours. So I set it maybe, I think a little after 10 last night, and it was done this morning because I went to bed. I think maybe it was like 10:30, but yeah, it was like 40-something% done when I went to bed. And before we started, I pulled them off the build plate and put them into the alcohol to clean.
Mm-hmm.
So now I'll take them out of the alcohol and put them on the bed to roam around and get the UV curing on.
They want to have a place where I can have harmful fumes. 'Cause I don't think you're supposed to be working around that stuff, right?
Well, I mean, it's under a lid. I mean, I don't sit in the same room that it prints at, so it's not. I mean, I guess if you did it all the time and like daily, and you're like around the fumes all the time, yeah, that could probably mess something up. But I'm not doing it enough with that to worry about that.
What you're saying is that
I need
you YOLO
food.
your printables.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
I mean,
I do the same with soldering. You should probably get a fume hood, but I mean, I'm not doing it that often.
Oh, it's now 11:30. That 3 minutes went by fast. So we had another episode of just inane chat about 7 days and bugs and no real topic to go off of. Hopefully next month we'll have a topic or two. But hopefully next month we'll have maybe a little bit more information about A21. We'll see what comes out. But for now, everyone have a good weekend and try not to get bit.
Sounds good. You too.
Unless
Cheers.
you want to.
If that's your kink, no shaming. Oh.